So you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I've heard that all over the place. I'm sure you probably have too. In the book, The Success Principles, it's Jim Rohn is given credit for that. I'll tell you, first of all, I'm Coach Bobby Brown. I'm with Sober Life Right. What I do is I help people live their most amazing lives, free from drugs and alcohol. I do that through one-on-one coaching. I hopefully do it through these videos. And I am going through one of my all-time favorite books, top 5 for me, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. Got my copy of the book right here in front of me. Absolute encyclopedia of principles, habits, things that successful people do. And I'm doing this a chapter a day. So today we're on chapter 25, which is drop out of the Ain't It Awful Club and surround yourself with successful people. So I am a man in long-term recovery. What that means for me is that today I'm living my most amazing life, free from drugs and alcohol. It's been that way since July 22nd, 2021. Big reason that my life is amazing is because of my community. I have worked as a recovery coach for the last 3 years, working with people that are either trying to get sober or going through the process of getting sober. As a coach, I get to walk alongside, like the thousands of people I've got to walk alongside and kind of see what helps people be successful, to where they get this right off the bat. I've got to see a lot of the things that don't work. And one of the biggest things, and I'll tie it into my own recovery. You know, I've been in recovery for 10 years. And like I said, my last time I used was in 2021, so that's not 10 years ago. And one of the things that I have learned that is probably the biggest cause of people not being able to maintain a drug-free lifestyle is the people they surround themselves with. I'll go back to my last time I returned to use, which was back in 2020. I had not used for 17 months, very involved in AA. I was living in sober living, very involved in service work. Was going to church, was working out, was very healthy, had read 100 self-help books, had read the Success Principles, was applying a lot of these principles in my life. And I made a decision one day that I was going to date a girl that was not living a sober lifestyle. In fact, she was doing the opposite. She was doing, not just drinking, but doing some pretty hardcore drugs. And I kind of justified it to myself. I'd taken a long time where I was single. I had, taken a year off of dating, and like it wasn't that big a deal. I was in good shape. Even convinced myself, well, maybe her being around me, I can help her to get sober. And that was all fine and good until it wasn't, We end up hanging out one night and she pulls out some pills, and it took about 90 seconds, I've talked about this before, for my brain to go, no, I'll never touch that stuff again. Oh, well, that's not my drug of choice. It's not a big deal. And that led to like another 9 months of active addiction that things got worse than they had ever gotten before, very quickly spiraled, homelessness, lost everything. All the traction I made, all of the good things I built back up with this sober lifestyle by not being very, very selective on who I spend time with. And that's a tough thing if you are, depending on how bad your drinking or using is, okay? For me, by that point, I was doing IV methamphetamine, like a drug that makes you brain dead and crazy. I've talked about this before. And so part of that was just getting around worse and worse people, the worse, like the guilt and shame would kick in. It'd be harder and harder to look myself in the mirror. So I try and find people that I could be acceptable around. I've talked about this in another video about how like we can, when our behavior is not aligned with our values, our subconscious mind will seek out people to try and reconcile. Okay, well, I know you're not a bad person, so let's get around somebody that's maybe got worse behavior than you, so then we can see that, okay, now it reconciles, well, yeah, you really are a good person because you're not as bad as this. And so it's like this spiral. And the worst people, I hate saying worst people. I don't think it's that people are inherently good or bad. People with worse behavior in the present, like to be kind of precise with my words there. People that with worse behavior in the present are around us, then suddenly what becomes acceptable is the things that they're doing. So now, once you've got that decision to become sober, you open your phone, you look at your contact list, and everybody you know is using, well, now you gotta meet new people. And if you haven't, I'm an extrovert. I am outgoing. I don't know if I was just born that way or if it's something that's developed over time. Probably a little combination of both. But I find it easier to meet people than probably most people do. I'm not afraid to just go up and talk to people. I'm not afraid to, I'm fairly comfortable with my communication skills. I think I've got pretty good empathy. So I've got these traits that make it easy for me to connect. Well, that's not everybody, somebody that's an extreme introvert, that's not that feels most comfortable being alone. Well, now you've got to develop this community around you. It can be very, very awkward. Like there's certain skills that you can do. And I've learned some things that I've taught over the years, on how to connect. But so one of the things you got to figure out one, and this, because I love the way the success principles build on each other, once you've kind of started at the beginning and you've kind of got a purpose at this point, you've got a vision for what you want your life to be like, you start putting plans in place to become this person. Well, now it's just a matter of, okay, I know what I want from life. I know what kind of people I want in my life. Now I've just got to figure out where to find them, and then how can I spend as much time as possible with them. There's a Mike Murdoch quote in the book that I absolutely love. Pay any price to stay in the presence of extraordinary people. Yeah. I think about that with some of my job decisions over the last year and a half. Back in 2023, I was climbing cell phone towers. And it was a decision I made for a couple of reasons. One, it took me back to Atlanta, so I was going to be able to spend some time around some family I hadn't seen in a long time, so start working on some of those relationships. It was also a chance for me to make some really good money. I was going to be working side by side with one of my absolute best friends in the world, so I knew I was going to also very involved with recovery. So I knew we would get to spend a lot of time together, and I knew the benefits of that. It was extremely beneficial. We'd ride around, we'd be in a truck together for, sometimes 4 hours a day. We're just feeding our mind with great stuff, listening to so much Tony Robbins and Dr. Joe Dispenza and Stephen Furtick, and just like all these great things. And we're not only listening, we're engaged, we're talking about it, going out, doing virtual seminars, Matthew McConaughey, like doing all these things together. So it's like huge time for personal development. It was not, I was doing some private coaching at the time. I was still kind of early in that. So I'm able to do my coaching and learn. But when that job in the company I was working for ended up shutting down, and I knew that if I was serious about coaching, that I had to get more reps in. And so I started talking to other coaches that I know and respect, and I got an offer to work at Houston Recovery Center. And it was a lot less money than I was used to making. I knew it was going to be like financially, it was going to stretch me. I wasn't going to be able to, I was going to have to be real disciplined with my money. I was going to have to sacrifice a lot of material things, which in turn for me, like kind of meant putting other parts of my life on hold, you know, things like relationships and that kind of stuff for a while. And, but I knew that it was going to place me around some of the like leading innovators in coaching in the country. Houston Recovery Center, like their programs, the way that they work and to provide coaching and case management, like people visit from all over the country to come see what this program's doing and how it's helping people. And Dr. Leonard Kincaid's like vision has been just amazing, and it's been a great environment to work in. And it's given me the chance to have really, really robust caseloads, you know, deal with, like got thrown into the fire to learn coaching. And, you know, the more you do something, the better you get. Like you have to just get out there, and you have to be bad at stuff in the beginning and keep practicing until you get better and better and better. And like, this was such a great opportunity for me to like just learn and learn and learn at the price of other parts of my life. So I look at that today. I try and look at that with a lot of intention. Like the idea of having 5 people in my life today seems like it's almost impossible. I look at it. I've been so blessed to, like, with the strategy maybe, the way that I have gone about building community. Like I've got hundreds of people that are doing amazing things in my life that I can interact with. Like I have so many people to learn from, so many good mentors, so many people living amazing lives sober, like to just tap into. And like it's humbling when I sit down, like I talk about this and I think about how strong my community is. Like it's just absolutely humbling that God has graced me with that. And I love helping other people. So that's what I got on this subject. Let me couple of things before I wrap this up. One, go get the book. I'm an Amazon affiliate. I'm going to put the link in the description. I get a small commission if you purchase it that way. So I'd love for you to do that, but just get the book. It's an amazing book. If you like these videos, please subscribe, please like, please comment, like, you know, tell me if something stuck with you. And if you're looking for a coach, either somebody to coach you through recovery or somebody to help you build an amazing life now that you are sober, and you'd like to talk to me, then just comment coach and I'll reach out, or visit my website, soberliferight.com, and let's talk. So I hope everyone has an amazing day.